I'm Robert Hall, chairman of the Compression Institute. Some friends and I have created a video on what we're up to. There are 3 parts. The first is why everyone should take seriously compression, a term we created to describe a world of depleting resources and environmental degradation. Compression thinking is a necessary revolution to deal with this new world. Part 2 is an example of compression thinking in action today. The scientific cleaning network called OS1, which is revolutionizing the cleaning industry. Part 3 invites you to join with us in creating this business revolution in which business has a mission higher than profit, and profit is a result of that mission.
All over the world, business leaders, citizens, and policymakers are realizing the urgent need to sit down and work together at the local level to compress their use of limited resources through conservation, recycling waste, and changing their habits. Economic models of continual growth based on the cheap extraction of limited fossil fuel resources are no longer sustainable. Mining and disposing of waste by destroying entire ecosystems creates irreparable damage, endangering some species and contributing to the extinction of others. Most of all, it threatens the Earth, our home. Accepting the facts and sharing knowledge enables companies and their communities to learn from each other about how to become more resilient and healthy. Professor Emeritus Robert W. Hall is the chairman of the Compression Institute.
We have to learn how to change some habits, each one of us, in what we do. And our companies and our cities and our towns have to change the structures and the support systems that let us do it.
The Compression Institute has a plan to help accelerate this business transformation. Chairman Hall calls this approach compression thinking, to help a business drastically shift from a growth model to a sustainable one that includes the employees, their communities, and even the Earth as stakeholders. Compressing means discovering how to live very well using a fraction of the current use of irreplaceable ores, water, electricity, and fuel. The Compression Institute is dedicated to forming business and community discussion groups about shared issues in what Hall calls vigorous learning groups that put compression thinking actively into practice. Action leads to change at the local level as we learn together to do better with less.
Somebody has to begin these kinds of things. We're not campaigning for regulations. We're not out demonstrating. We're trying to figure out how to fix this and do it with people in the business community understanding it's necessary and get with it.
Many enlightened business leaders started putting compression thinking into practice years ago. A highly successful example is Operating System 1, called OS1, a network of companies setting new standards for the cleaning industry by implementing a scientifically based process that puts people over profit.
I've been privileged to see some of the very best companies on the planet because I judged prizes, I wrote stories about them and so on. I was a professor, I taught people, I worked directly with people in companies. The following organizations have facilities that are qualified as a green certified program of excellence.
The Simon Institute Symposium is a yearly gathering for the OS1 network of colleagues who practice employee-centered management. They give their custodial workers awards for best practices and listen carefully to their ideas. CEO John Walker of ManageMen founded the OS1 system and its Janitor University to educate janitors and elevate custodial work to a profession.
The way we find new best practices, there's actually two ways. One way is that we don't find them, they find us. And it usually comes from janitors who show us simpler ways of doing things, better ways of doing things. So we go back to the people who are actually doing the cleaning, and this started 30 years ago, but in listening to what they say, that's how you find the best way of doing things, is look at the practitioners, see what they think would improve the lot, and that's how you get best practices.
Paul Condi is the director of the Simon Institute.
We're continually improving. Annually, we meet each year to benchmark best practices from all participating organizations. We believe in gathering data and sharing that data with everyone.
At the Simon Institute Symposium and Awards, organizations that use scientific cleaning come together to network with each other and with suppliers like PortionPack. Here's Mark Samios.
The OS1 users group, the symposium group, provides manufacturers, people with a good idea, anybody that wants to forward their thought process and create change. It gives them the opportunity to work with just the cream of the crop of consumers in our industry, people who are truly on the cutting edge and want to learn and improve.
Improvements like the PortionPack Rule of One, which standardizes the concentration of chemicals by using one pack for each container.
It has worked out very well. As far as the economy on the chemicals that we use, I definitely know for a fact that it is a plus. This way, the portion packs, they kind of they guide you, and it lets you know exactly how much you need to use.
We have an ongoing mission statement to promote janitors, housekeepers, custodians, for people to treat cleaning workers as first-class citizens.
Well, I think scientific cleaning, it's basically validated the whole cleaning process. Okay? When you believe in something that has validation, it means a lot more. And when we talk about cleaning for health, that really goes down deep. So we tell our custodians that you are healthcare workers. And we talk about we train them. We teach them microorganisms, pathogens, fomites, nosocomial infections. So we educate them.
The Simon Institute sponsored a tour of the University of Texas in Austin for members of the OS1 network. The tour gave members a chance to dialogue with each other and share ideas. If they have a problem or a good idea, they speak up like they do on the job. Then the group can quickly arrive at a solution and share it throughout the network.
Which we printed and presented to the employee.
You printed and still printed and
Yes.
When the OS1 system was introduced at the University of Texas, a whole building of excess equipment and supplies was cleaned out. Now only 4 PortionPack green chemicals are used daily. Worker safety and health has improved. Water use has dropped by 2/3, and plastic bag use by almost a half. PortionPack and other suppliers collaborate in ongoing learning about scientific cleaning. OS1 is a learning network.
I'm the education director for the corporation. And when you look at Doc Hall's book, we talk about vigorous learning. Well, vigorous learning is literally what goes on every day inside OS1. You have people connected electronically across the nation, exchanging ideas constantly. And it's an ever-escalating pyramid of knowledge. It's a wonderful exchange.
The Compression Institute promotes these exchanges between companies and communities to put compression thinking into practice.
What we propose is vigorous learning organizations. Some of them may be within companies, learning to do something very different from what they do today, even to changing their basic business model. We're inviting people to participate with us in learning groups about vigorous learning organization, because that's the first stage. We do not have all the answers. We're just trying to help everybody figure out what their answers are with what they start with in their communities and in their companies.
The OS1 network is one example of collaboration to improve a common process, cleaning. Elsewhere, many initiatives are doing great things to help communities live better using less. The Compression Institute wants to accelerate the process of deep change. There are opportunities to integrate efforts at the local level. Dialogue helps communities and companies define the issues in all their unique complexity and create solutions tailored to each locality.
Probably the most important is learning to dialogue so that people actually exchange their knowledge and their feelings with each other. They're not pointing fingers and hammering. I've been in companies where they said our company logo should look like this. And that's what we really have to get away from. Get to the core issues and problems that we need to deal with. And that's what I call vigorous learning. And it means learning new things, learning what you may not have seen before, and most important, learning by the people that are primarily doing. Just imagine what could happen if you took the ideas that you saw with cleaning and extended that to sanitation workers, people providing electricity, people in water and sewage, safety and security in the community, and so on and so forth. They have to get outside themselves and deal with a process bigger than them.
When we travel the vast expanse of Earth, it looks like it could go on forever. But from out here, we realize that billions of us are balanced on a tiny blue ball. This perspective makes it clear that people simply cannot continue to expand on a planet of limited size. The old growth model is not sustainable for future generations. Now, the business revolution is being led by companies that recognize this and take action on behalf of all the stakeholders, especially Earth, our home. Find out more about vigorous learning and compression thinking at compression.org. Get a copy of this video and start your own learning group.